It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Why so serious?
What again? I dare you! I double dare you, motherfucker! Say what one more goddamn time! You shall not pass!
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the House of Rose podcast. All right, today we're going to be covering another one. All right, we're going to be covering the book of Boba Fett. There are many different opinions on the show, but today I only have two. I have two other hosts that we're going to be talking about the intricacies of this amazing universe that we've, been given by, Star Wars. So, all right, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, guys?
All right, guys. I'm joined by Alex and Adrian. Today we're going to be talking about, the book of Boba Fett. So let's get into it, guys. What do you think? What is your, thoughts?
Real quick, spoiler alert. Big old spoiler alert. Anybody who still hasn't seen it or is interested, there's your chance. Go ahead, walk away.
You might want to hit the gong.
Walk away.
Hit the gong too, Adrian. Hit the gong too, man.
Here we go.
If you have it.
If you hasn't heard,
Yeah, if you have
a
it.
little spoiler gong here. There's your spoiler warning,
All right.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Does anyone want to go first, or?
No, Adrian, I want to hear your point of view.
Yeah, we want to hear your review, man.
All right. I'm a massive Star Wars fan. I just gotta put that right away. I've been into Star Wars since I was a kid. And I just want to say, first and foremost, I am very appreciative of the fact that whatever anyone feels about the show, that we got a Boba Fett show. Before this show, before Mandalorian, Boba Fett was kind of in this weird spot where he's like one of the most popular Star Wars characters. But if you look at the movies, he literally only has 5 lines, 6 lines. He has like 6 minutes of screen time, and he dies in one of the most pathetic ways possible. He literally gets smacked in the back, flies into a wall, and he gets flushed into the Starlight Pit, and that's it. It's like there's your greatest bounty hunter of all time. But there's just so much that the character's been through in terms of expanded lore and expanded whatnot. But it's really good to see that instead of just concluding that he's gone and he's dead and that's all you're going to get from him, that we get to see something from him. So I feel that although not everyone was pleased about that, I think that I want to just set it out there that seeing the character and seeing that he's been taken into a direction, I think is something, better than nothing. That's the first thing I want to say. I don't know if any of you guys want to jump in on that. How you guys feel about that? Or do you guys feel that no, that he should have just died,
Yeah, I'll jump into it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Man, honestly, I was so excited seeing this. I mean, we had just gotten the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian lived up to its expectation. I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, Book of Boba Fett. I mean, this is Boba Fett we're talking about, right? Like, it doesn't get better than this, in terms of characters and getting an actual TV show with them instead of like a movie, because a movie you get 2 hours and it's over with, until the next one if they make another one. With this, we got a show. We got to see what happened. They took us back. They took us all the way back to the movies, to episode 6. So yeah, I think it was really good. I think that we got to really see him as a person instead of just a bounty hunter. We got to see his motivations, and yeah, I like how they did a deep dive into his character. I think that it was good up until a certain point, and then I feel like his show kind of got hijacked, if we're honest. But yeah, I did like it. I did like it. I feel like the Mandalorian kind of, sabotaging his show. It made the show. I mean, I liked it, man. I liked everything, bro. I feel like the Mandalorian kind of carried it towards the end, definitely. But yeah, I'd like to see what you guys' thoughts is on, that part of the series.
Well, first off, I want to start by saying, just like you guys said, I agree. It was great to see my man, get more than 5 lines,
Yeah.
because there's so much like hype in all the Star Wars movies behind Boba Fett. You're like, whoa, like just how they like play his character and stuff like that, like just how they use the shots for him and stuff in the movies. You're like, whoa, this guy's like, he's supposed to be this really great bounty hunter, like Adrian said, but we never got to see that like more expounded upon. But this was great, not just for Boba Fett, but for the Star Wars universe in general. In my opinion, like I just love when franchises expand universes, but they do it like right. Because this was like, we could touch on that later, with the Tuscans and all that stuff and those sorts of things. Uh, it was just great. I liked it. I do agree with Shawn. At the end, it did kind of, it was like more like Mando 2.5. The second season and a half. But uh, for what it was definitely great, and I'm really happy. Yeah. So let's go deeper, guys. Let's get deeper into this thing.
I guess if we can get deeper, you guys have mentioned this, but elephant in the room, Mando showing up. Um, they teased him and it was exciting. And in all honesty, he had an amazing episode. Both like actually the scenes with Mando, the content with Mando is honestly amazing. But as you say, and actually a lot of people have said, this is kind of like this is supposed to be Book of Boba Fett, and there's literally 2 episodes where Boba Fett is sidelined. If there's a whole episode where he's not even in the whole episode, it's Mando, and it's like, couldn't this have been saved for Mando season 3 or whatnot? Or if you really wanted to, because some people have even argued episode 6 isn't about Mando, it's about Grogu, and it's about Luke Skywalker, and they also show Cad Bane, which is an amazing return of a character who was only animated prior to this. It's like you could have called the show the Book of Tatooine, or
Yeah.
like. And I think the overall conclusion a lot of people have with the show is that it's an amazing Star Wars show, but when you call it the Book of Boba Fett, it's like, is this really a Boba Fett show? Is this really, And a lot of people even have problems with Boba Fett, which I think we can get into soon. But elephant in the room first. Yeah, a lot of people like. I mean, again, look, Mando with a dark saber. Him being in space. What has he been doing this whole time? Is he worthy of the blade? What has Grogu been doing? What has Luke Skywalker been doing? What is going on around the Star Wars universe? It's amazing content, as you said, Alec, that expands the universe. Like we don't really see what happened after Episode 6, and now we're like, this is all culminating into something, and it's really fun for Star Wars fans, but. For like, let's say a Boba Fett fan, like such as my little brother, who's been dying to see Boba Fett like done justice. It's like, he liked the show, but he also felt like, man, my boy literally got sidelined halfway through the show. It's like,
Yeah, of course. I mean, when you say sidelined, I feel like usually it has like a negative connotation, but I feel like they did it with such a strong story in terms of like, bro, the fan base wanted to see what was going to happen with Mando and Grogu, and Luke, really. And we got to see Ahsoka as well. Like, they're great characters. But yeah, it did feel weird. It felt kind of weird, man. It felt like we were watching Mandalorian season 3 already.
Yeah.
Which Mandalorian season 3, I feel like it's going to be amazing. Like, if it's only half of what we saw, it's going to be a crazy show, incredible show. I did want to touch on Cad Bane being in the show. I feel bad about how he died, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel kind of bad. I feel like you're bringing in kind of like if you want to say he's a legacy character because he was from the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
You're bringing in a very important character, and for him to be killed off in like one episode, I feel like if you did like a season 3 or a season 4 or even season 2 of Book of Boba Fett, I feel like you could have brought him back in, he alludes to knowing, his father, I mean, I feel like they could have talked about that a little bit more because of how old the character really is, and maybe built his character up a little bit more. But yeah, I thought it was cool how they put him in the show. What did you think about it, Alex?
I mean, I don't know, man. I like now that we're talking about it, it really does kind of bother me how Mando like kind of hijacked the show at the end because the pacing of the show is good. You know, it was leading up. You know, for me, it was just it was all coming together, and I was like, okay, you know, like this is gonna have a nice little ending and all that stuff, but I don't know, man. Like I just have I don't want to call it like that. They were just throwing it out there because maybe it was like a hit, dude. Like I don't know. It just confused me. Like it was a real curveball for me. You know, I was like, what the, like, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know. I'm always up for like, you know, obviously Mandalorian content, and like you said, if that's a preview for season 3, then I'm like, okay, you know, this is pretty, you know, then I like it. But for the most part, like. I don't know. I just wasn't really a fan of that part in my in my opinion. I mean, seeing Cad Bane was pretty cool, but I just felt like it kind of threw off the show for me. So I'm not really too happy.
I think I know how you feel, Alex, because when I saw episode 5, which was the Mando episode, I remember in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, so when is Boba showing up and they're gonna team up together? Because I'm like, okay, we're getting Mando for like let's say a good 15 minutes. No, we got Mando the whole 50 minutes, whatnot. It was like. And I liked it, but at the same time, I'm like, I remember I paused it a few times. I'm like, wait, there's only like 10 minutes left in this episode. When is Boba Fett? And that kind of, I wasn't upset per se, but I was like, this is called the Book of Boba Fett. And if this was a differently titled show, like Book of Tatooine, and you tell me this episode is called The Return of the Mandalorian, I would have known from the get-go that, okay, this whole episode is about Mando. The whole episode. But the title says Boba Fett. I don't know. It's like main character isn't present. And it's not that the main character has to be present in every single moment, but it's like from episode 5 onward, it's like Boba Fett didn't feel like a protagonist anymore. I wanted to mention really quick about Cad Bane, Shawn. If this and this isn't to guarantee anything, but after he got stabbed, there was a beeping. Yeah, some people speculate he's not actually dead. I'm with you. At first I thought it was a really good way for him to go out. That like, wow, Boba Fett of all people had to kill him. But I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? There's more to him than just for Cad Bane. There's got to be a little bit more than just that. There's got to be at least like you're right, like one more season, maybe like a legitimate final duel, not like a 30-second fight, like an actual.
Is anyone ever really dead in the Star Wars universe, guys? Come on.
That's true. The post-credits.
That's true. That's true.
The post-credit scene was literally the sheriff or whatever he was. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I forgot.
Whatever his name is. Yeah, he survives or whatnot, and also even Fennec Shand, she survived. Boba Fett survives. Everyone just survives in this show.
Yeah, basically.
It's You're right. That's an interesting take.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, when someone dies in Star Wars, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah,
they'll be back. You know,
they'll be back
in one way or another. You know, they'll be back. So
yeah, just like Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Darth Maul was pretty epic, though.
You know,
yeah, well,
I'm looking forward. I don't know, man. Like, it just really bothers me, you know, because I was like, Book of Boba Fett. You know, it's not gonna be about anyone else. It's just gonna be what happened after episode 6. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be good. It's gonna fill in like a bunch of gaps, you know. But then, you know, if you think about it, there was only 7 episodes.
There was 7 episodes.
7 episodes, and episode 5 from then onward. You know, so basically we got half a season of Boba content. You know, and the rest of it was just like good. It was good nonetheless, but still, you know, not in line definitely with, you know, fans of Boba Fett in general that just want to see his lore like expanded upon more. You know?
And when you think about it, like the first 2-3 episodes are really just about explaining what happened after he died. Yeah. You know. And because of the flashbacks, they just kept going back. And then how he takes over the throne of Jabba. So I just feel like we kind of... And the thing about it that nobody really has said yet is that had to be like something they already talked about. Like that wasn't a ratings thing. Like it couldn't have been because production was already done. Like they couldn't have seen, okay, the the first 2 or 3 episodes aren't doing well in numbers, and then we're just gonna put the Mandalorian in. You know, they thought about this. Like they really knew what they were doing. So it's kind of like, were y'all really gonna give us the series that we wanted? You know, were they really going to, or were they just banking on, okay, we're gonna do a few episodes, what happened, because we don't want it to seem like a massive plot hole because he's back, and then we're gonna throw in the Mandalorian and Grogu to carry the show to the finish line.
Yeah,
it's like why? Like, we didn't. Of course, we wanted to see those characters, but we really wanted a whole season of just Boba Fett. So
it sparked so much debate and even concern. The new Obi-Wan show that people have been dying to have, but it's like, okay, wait a second, like, you did this with Boba, like, you're gonna tell me Obi-Wan's gonna have, like, let's say 3 to 4 episodes for him, but then the rest of the season's like other characters that or whatnot. I don't think that's going to be the case because it's a different time period. Mando's probably not. He's still a child, so I don't even think he's relevant at that time. Something that I would like to bring up, and this brings up a whole new conversation, is some people felt Boba was done dirty throughout the show. I guess I should expand on that, correct?
Yeah.
So for a lot of people, Boba Fett is this stoic, silent, mysterious bounty hunter, and he's a ruthless killer. And if you look at Mando season 2, when he comes back, that is perfectly reflected. He's very few with words. He's very direct. He's very menacing. And when he has those fight scenes, man, you see, like, this is a character who has better skill than Mando. He has better skills than everyone, and that's that he's injured. And what a lot of people have pointed out is, if you look at the book of Boba Fett, he's like nerfed or weakened, or he's like considerably softer. Now, it's very divisive. For a lot of people, they defend it because it's like, oh, he's been getting some sort of cancer due to the whole acid trip in the pit, and that's why he's constantly in the backup tank. He's trying to heal himself, so he's not at full power. And another group of people are like, okay, well, that makes sense. And also, he's softer because his time with the Tusken Raiders have changed him from like a ruthless bounty hunter to like an honorable man who's just trying to command with respect, not with force. He's not trying to be Jabba 2.0 or a Cad Bane. But for a lot of people, it's like, it's one thing to be more honorable and decent, but it's another thing when, like, you talk a lot now and you don't even, demonstrate a sense of respect at all when everyone's literally trying to assassinate you. Nobody respects you. And it's like, when you think about it, all of Boba's action scenes are in the past. They're from the flashbacks. Boba doesn't get like action until episode 7, which is crazy. For a lot of people, it's like, wow, Boba Fett didn't do anything. He was just talking to people, gathering people. And it took episode 7 for him to finally start fighting back. And he was with Mando. It was awesome seeing Mando and Boba fight together. But it was also like, wow, like, Boba, like, really, he never got a scene like in Mando season 2 where he literally like whooped everyone in the battlefield all by himself, demonstrating that, like, yeah, I am the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy. It's like here he's like, oh, I'm just a random soldier helping out Mando. And people are more invested in like, oh, is Grogu going to get back with Mando? Then, like, is Boba Fett really going to take out this entire gang war? So I don't know. How do you guys feel? Do you guys feel that Boba's changes are okay? Or do you guys feel that, like, no, man, they kind of did him a little dirty and they kind of have to fix him up again? I don't know. What do you guys think?
You ready, Alex? Or you want me to go?
Yeah, man, I'll take the lead because I think it's on two fronts that you could think about it, right? You can think about it like how some people are portraying it, where it's character growth, like maybe when back in the day, like as we know him from the movies and stuff like that, and from that Mandalorian episode. But then that's the thing, that's like a weird little plot hole, because the Mandalorian episode isn't that far from the show. So how come he's like messing people up on that show, but then now he's like he like takes everybody's crap and he's basically what, like, let's call it what it is. People walked over him, basically, they walked all over him, which is crazy because you would think like, damn, Boba Fett, the most respected bounty hunter in the galaxy, they'd be like, whoa, like this is a guy you have to, respect when you're going into Tatooine and when you're going into his region. But I mean, but you could also think about it like character growth. Like he now has the throne, so maybe he doesn't feel the need to mingle in that sort of life anymore. I guess if we want to really stretch it out there and really reach for something, I guess it could be that. That maybe he doesn't feel the need to, and he wants to leave that part of him behind. And I think him being with the Tusken Raiders definitely played a part in that. I think that was the main reason why they wrote that. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's the direction they wanted to go with Boba Fett. Because if you think about it, the character's older, so there's really no point. At least to me, having him just be this, killing machine like he was before. So I think it was a good job that they used the Tusken Raiders to kind of aid in that understanding for the audience. Like, okay, his time with them kind of smoothed him over, kind of made him see other sides of life that isn't just killing people and taking money. And he even says it in the show, like that he doesn't want to live that life anymore, that he doesn't want to answer to anyone but himself. So I think all that coming together, I personally like it. I mean, the action scenes would have been cool. Like if he can kick ass every once in a while, that'd be really cool. He did in I forgot which episode, but it was where he had brokered a deal with oh my god, the names are escaping me. But he brokered a deal with someone, and then they said, "Oh no, we paid protection to this other group already, to this syndicate." So he's like, "What do you mean?" And then he says, "Yeah, we can't pay both of you guys for protection." So he says, "Okay, wait up." So he goes to these people and he walks into like a bar or whatever, and yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right, Adrian? Yeah, and then he goes, he just messes everyone up, and then he leaves. Stuff like that is great, but I think just for the character growth in general, it was really good. What do you think, Shawn?
I thought it was cool. I want to segment. So we haven't really talked about the Tusken Raiders as much as I think we should. I think that was probably one of the biggest things with this show. Tusken Raiders, we see them as, barbaric creatures that just want to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like they did a pretty good job at, giving them like a
humanizing them,
personality. Yeah, humanizing them. And I wanted to get you guys' perspective on that. Like, do you think they did a good job? What did you like about it, and what didn't you like about it? And do you think that they should have done it?
I think they did an excellent job. When I talk to my brother about it all the time, we came to the agreement, like, the best part of the show, in terms of, like, this is Boba Fett's show, was from the flashbacks. I know a lot of people didn't like the flashbacks, but for me, I loved it because it's like, this is Boba Fett in this situation without his armor, without his weapons, and he gets into this group of people who most people, you're right, they just assume they're barbaric, and he develops a cultural connection with his like surrogate family in a way. And it's like, he even, like, you see his staff weapon, like, he creates it, you see him train with it, you see him learn, like, not to just be angry and kill people with skill, but instead have some discipline. You see him kind of let go of the bounty hunter way and learn the ways of, like, just survival. Apparently he was with them for 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, because supposedly from episode 6 to Mandalorian, it was a 5-year gap. So he was with them, if not 5 years, then like 3 years at least. He was with them with at least more than a year. So he really developed something with them. And I even feel like the way, like, you see the little Tusken Raider kid, you see him run around, you kind of see like he has like innocence, he's not just this monster. You see the way they actually, give him that melon. You just see all that. It's like, this is great because it's like, it shows you why Boba Fett would change in the way that he's changed. And it kind of puts him in this situation where it's like, yeah, this is Boba Fett without his armor. He doesn't have a helmet. He doesn't have his weapons. It's like he has himself and he has these people around him. And I think that was like the best part of the show because comparatively, as you said, Alex, that fight scene was even in the past. And it felt like, oh, that was needed because he did it for the Tusken Raiders. Yeah. And even another part from the past when he kills like that biker gang, he killed them out of a rage over the Tusken Raiders. It's like all the cool stuff is from the past, the way at least I see it. And like in the present, he doesn't really have that kind of vibe anymore. And I feel that when you really look into it, I even remember that the only time they were brought up again was in the final episode when Cad Bane like reminded him. He's like, "Oh, like how you abandoned the Tusken Raiders," and like it kind of pissed Boba off. And I kind of saw like this is the Boba Fett that I think fans really like, the more cold and menacing one. Um, but then they just never mentioned him again. And I don't know. I feel like they brought up such a powerful setup with the Tusken Raiders. I think that their time with them was great. I feel that there should have been a better payoff than how it actually ended, because at the end of the day, Fennec Shand assassinated the groups of people truly responsible for killing them, and it kind of felt unearned. I felt Boba Fett should have done it. Boba Fett should have been the one who like really shown his true self on the people responsible for ridding him of his family. We have to remember Boba Fett. He became a cruel person because he literally saw his father get decapitated by Mace Windu.
Yeah.
That part of him is why he's so angry all the time, and to see his family get killed again. You feel me? So
Yeah, of course.
Yep. Man,
Let's see.
if
Go
I
ahead.
could say something really quick, because Adrian brought up a great point with the armor, and I think here we go reaching again. I think that it's symbolic, right? Because when he puts on the armor, he's like a completely different person. He's that little kid that's trying to protect himself. When he saw his father get decapitated, so he has this built up anger and this built up rage, and has these desires to just be a bounty hunter, right? But then once you strip him of all that, and we saw what that was when he was with the Tusken Raiders, right? We saw that like really he was like a blank canvas if you think about it, like in terms of his like personality and stuff like that. Like he needed to be molded, kind of, to something that wasn't just how a typical bounty hunter would go about their day to day life. Like he was taught like how to be amongst family. He was taught tradition, and like you said, basically like a surrogate family. And he was taught how to how to have emotion and how to build a connection with people. So I think the armor, like it was really symbolic of that. Like just him like being completely vulnerable, essentially, right? Because in that life, he was never really able to open himself up, obviously, because he felt like if he did, he would put himself in danger. But he was in this place where he was basically without anything. So I think it was really cool, just really cool to see in general. The Tusken Raiders and all that stuff, and I thought they did them really well. I definitely think it helped aiding in expanding the universe, as we all talked about, and we love expanding universes over here on the House of Reels podcast, man. We love expanding universes, we love them. So it was great to see it done right, and like Adrian said, just giving them, some emotion. Because when you see the Tusken Raiders, personally, whenever I see them on screen, I'm like, dude, I have to cover my ears because they're gonna do this stupid like screeching crap that they do all the time and stuff, and yeah, exactly. And I always think of like the Lego games, where they would just be like,
Yeah.
oh, exactly. So, yeah, man, it was really nice to see like not just them being humanized, but also that the writers put like thought and time into like the actual like structure of what a Tuscan village would look like. Like that they have like a chieftain, and that they have like a society. It's not just like a bunch of savages that come together and like kill people and take their stuff. It was really, really cool. I liked it a lot.
All
What about
right,
you,
question. I wanted to talk about another thing right quick.
Okay.
So we saw in Spider-Man how they brought the three universes together,
yes.
right? I feel like when they brought Cad Bane over, that was sort of the Star Wars equivalent. And when I say that, Clone Wars, yes, it was canon, but at the same time, to bring a character that's only been like animated to being in the show is insane to me. I feel like it was insane. I feel like bringing Ahsoka, I feel like, bro, there's so much to do with this. Like, there's so much that they can do now. Like, now that they've made this kind of canon, I mean, it was already canon, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I just wanted to see you guys' like opinion on that. Like, how did you feel when you saw him walking up? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I was freaking out.
For me, I just had this big stupid grin on my face. Now I was unfortunately spoiled prior to seeing the episode. Like I was just scrolling around YouTube. It happened to be the Wednesday it came out, and I saw his face. I'm like, oh no! I'm like, no, I know. But you see, so then I'm like, okay, no more YouTube. Let me watch the episode. So I saw the episode. I was kind of anticipating him, and once I saw the silhouette, I knew it was him. I'm like, I had this stupid grin on my face, like, like
Yeah.
just seeing a character who he was introduced in Clone Wars. He was made by Dave Filoni and such, and it's really interesting because a big part of these new live action Star Wars shows are done by a lot of great things of Star Wars nowadays is done by Dave Filoni, and it's just very awesome to see how his characters, his lore, his creation is transferring into live action. And I know a lot of people were like a little bit upset at the way Cad Bane looked, like physically, like, oh my gosh, he looks nothing like it. And then I would say it's really difficult to translate animated characters into real life, and still I felt he looked great. I think it's amazing because it's like we don't have to just pretend it's just a cartoon anymore. We don't have to pretend that this is all separated. It's like, no, this is Star Wars, and Star Wars is this. It's more than just lightsabers. Sometimes, as Mandalorian and Boba Fett have shown us, it's about a bit of like some Western. It's a bit about some spice trades. It's a bit about culture. And there's so much content on just Tatooine alone, and Tatooine is supposed to be like the worst planet in the galaxy. And it's insane that Star Wars could be so much more than that. And I think it's fantastic to just see some animated characters be brought into this medium. And I think that it opens the door for so much more. It means that, Star Wars doesn't have to limit itself to just Skywalker. It doesn't just have to be about like the Skywalker saga. It could be about so much more. And I think that just anticipates more on like the Obi-Wan show. Hopefully, maybe we get a little bit of a reference to someone like Captain Rex from Clone Wars. He's still alive around that time. Maybe we can see him in live action finally. Same actor, Tamora Morrison, he could play him. That'd be great. But no, it widens, it opens everything. It gives us more than just what we're used to. It shows us Star Wars can adapt to so much more content than just lightsaber duels all the time and the Force. That's how I see it.
Yeah. Question. So you see how they have, the new Star Wars games that are coming out. Are they going to make that canon? Like, can they make that canon? Really? I mean,
Battlefront?
Like,
no, right?
No. The one that's on PlayStation and Xbox.
Fallen Order, the Jedi Fallen Order.
Fallen Order.
You with like Cal, that's the guy.
Cal Kestis, yeah.
I think it is canon. There was a lot of speculation actually for the Luke episode that like, oh, what if Cal shows up and he's like one of the Jedis in training? That would be awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But
it is canon. Okay.
I think we'll have to wait and see because I think they did confirm they're making a second one of that.
Of course, yeah. They did.
Now that you said about video games, if I could say what I would love to see in live action, I don't know if you guys know the character Darth Revan, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He is a very beloved character, and people are dying to see that character in live action in any way, shape, or form. That would be pretty epic. I mean, yeah, Star Wars is like transmedia. Star Wars does not have to limit itself to just a few movies.
No, it doesn't.
No.
We never know what's gonna happen. You never know.
And you never know with the books too.
Same thing with the books, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
there's a lot of books. There's a lot of Star Wars.
There really are.
So they can really go as deep as they want, And I think that's the really cool thing about Star Wars is that they're kind of like digging stuff up, from like. I think that's the coolest part for me, like, and I agree with Adrian. It's like with Cad Bane coming in, that's like a kind of like a not a changing of the guard, but I don't know what the term is, like a melding of two worlds, I guess you can say, because like you guys said before, we'd be like, okay, animated is animated, live action is live action, like those are two different things. They're never gonna come together. It is what it is. But now it opens up the door so many possibilities that I'm really excited for, and that Obi-Wan series. Now I'm really looking now I'm really looking forward to it because of that. So
Yeah.
let's see. And if they can do, but see, that's the thing though. It depends if they want to go deeper on a character like Darth Revan, like then the studios have to think about like how is that going to do ratings wise and stuff like that, because Boba Fett, I think he's generally well known. Like if you watch Star Wars to a certain extent, you'll probably know who Boba Fett is, but Darth Revan is like he hasn't come out on any of the movies or anything like that, so I hope they do, because he's a freaking amazing character. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's see, man, let's see.
Question. So, guys, for a season 2, what would you like to see? And do you think that they should do a season 2?
More Boba Fett.
Would you like to answer that first, Alex, or do I go?
No, that's my answer right there, Adrian. Don't worry about it, man.
If you ask me, I want to see them go for a season 2. I would like to see that, but something I was telling my brother, we talked about this. It would be really awesome to see Boba Fett expand more than just Tatooine. Like we kind of thought that what was going to happen, he was going to start off in Tatooine, but this crime lord gang war, whatever, was going to expand to the galaxy, and he was going to end up going to Mandalore, the planet, where he was going to meet up with Mando, and we thought that's how it was going to meet up, and then it was going to be like, we're going to see that Mandalore, the planet where they're all reside at, is actually like in a massive civil war or terrible incident, and I feel like that's what's going to end up happening for season 3 of Mandalorian. But it would be really awesome to see if like Boba Fett has his input in that. And we thought that what was going to happen, because Boba Fett's the protagonist, was Boba Fett was going to contend for being king of Mandalore, which is something like his father was going to be, or something like that. Or I don't know, his father was going to do that, but his father ended up being a bounty hunter, not really sticking to the Mandalorian culture. And so I figure, like, it would be really interesting to see a bounty hunter for life become this honorable person who follows the creed, or even if he doesn't do that, like, he's set in the situation where he has to go to his father's roots. Because we saw there was some flashbacks even of like baby Boba Fett looking at his father. It's like, how far does he honor his father? Like, how far does he honor him? I thought they were going to do that. They didn't end up doing anything like that. And if they do season 2, I'd like to see that. If they don't do a season 2 of Boba Fett, I absolutely want to see more of him in Mandalorian season 3. I don't think Boba Fett's story is over. I would feel really left out or like bummed out if he's just like, yeah, I just sit on Jabba's throne for the rest of my life until the end of my days. Like, I think he still has so much more impact than this. I think that he can help out Mando. I think he can do something more for himself. I think there's more to him. I think there's like at least like one big story left with him before I could say like Boba Fett, his story could be wrapped in a bow, like Darth Vader's story, who, like his story's done. But I think there's so much more to Boba Fett. So either season 2, or I really do want to see him in season 3 of Mandalorian. I don't want it to just not exist. So.
Okay. All right, guys, let's talk about Grogu for a second. So we saw the GOAT make his return,
Baby Yoda.
He shows up in an X-Fighter. I mean, bro, when you think about it, he made a big decision to come back. A big decision. He could have become a Jedi, but he decided to come back. Would you have liked to have seen him become a Jedi?
Yes.
Because I'm conflicted. I love him in the Mandalorian shows, and I know that if he chose to be a Jedi, he would probably never be in one again. But at the same time, like, seeing him become a Jedi would have been insane. Like, it would have been crazy. And I feel like the training that he got from Luke was pretty cool. I think that we'll see more of it in season 3 of The Mandalorian. And I loved how he was able to use his ability to stop the beast. I don't even know if it has a name. Does that have a name?
Rancor.
The Rancor. Yeah, the Rancor. My bad. But yeah, I thought that was pretty insane. And he just went to sleep next to it. It was pretty cool. But yeah, so how did y'all feel about that? And do you think they made the right decision?
What do you think,
Either one of
Alex?
y'all can go first.
I mean, I don't know, man. I'm one of those Star Wars guys that I'm just a sucker for anything with a lightsaber, bro. So,
Yeah.
so to be honest, I would have loved to see him become a Jedi, but like you said, that would probably honestly just ruin the whole dynamic of the Mandalorian, like the show, because not only is he like an integral character, but Grogu's also like a money making machine for Disney. So like if they were to just completely like strip the character down and make him like the next, like make him so mature and stuff, it just really wouldn't make sense for them financially, But I mean, I thought it was cool that he got a little bit of training. Obviously, would have loved to see him with the lightsaber, all the cool
Yeah.
stuff. But I think it was the best decision for not only the show but just in general for Disney. So hey man, it is what it is. We just got to take that one on the chin, bro. Never gonna see him with the lightsaber. It's all good, man. I'm not sad or anything. I really am. It's okay. Whatever. Okay.
Adrian?
Man, it's just the ending of that episode. I remember the conflict that so many people were in. Like, oh my gosh, should he go back to Mando or should he become a Jedi? I think the whole point of the show was trying to show individuality. Like, Boba Fett's being his own person. Cad Bane is still being his own person. Fennec Shand is being her own person. Mando is being his own. Even Luke is trying to be his own because he's trying to build up the Jedi Order, but clearly he can't because Luke, although he's a Jedi, he doesn't follow the order, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The irony of the situation is, the Jedi Order forbids relationships, forbids emotion, and yet that is exactly why he saved Darth Vader, and that is exactly how he became the person he became. So it's kind of interesting to see him trying to like forbid it all of a sudden, but he's conflicted about that. And I feel the whole point about Grogu is he could have done the logical option of like, I'm powerful with the Force and are arguably related to Master Yoda. This is like maybe a relative of mine's own power being bestowed upon me. But he's his own person, he's got the Force, yeah, but at the end of the day, he's Mando's buddy in crime. He's Mando's child, and such. And I feel that they're just trying to show you that no, the relationship they have is that powerful, and it's not worth. Sometimes it's not worth doing quote unquote the better option when you can just be yourself and live the happy life you kind of deserve. Because Mando, when you think about it, he was this dirty bounty hunter. If you go back to the first episode, he was literally a dirty bounty hunter, who was a Mandalorian, just doing to survive. And he grew a soul and he grew a heart with Grogu. He grew to be like a father figure with him, and that dynamic has got to stick. I don't think he's never gonna have a lightsaber. I mean, Alex, you never know. Maybe Mando gets injured one day and he realizes, you know what, screw it. I have to be the Jedi Knight to protect the people I care about and other people I care about. So maybe he does go back. Maybe he does a Baby Yoda thing where he's like both. He uses the Force to get both of them, armor and lightsaber. So screw it. He's also young. I mean, I don't know. I think that it's possible he might tap into the dark side, and
Yeah.
he's a very young fella, and you can see he's sometimes selfish. Even he's selfish, and it's be very. I mean, I believe one time he force choked a character in the first season. So it would be very interesting that all of a sudden he's getting older. He's tapping into more power, and if he taps into the dark side, maybe like no, he needs the guidance from the Jedi to make sure he doesn't go that path. So you never know what's going to happen, but I think that at the moment, time being, I think you're right. He has to stick with Mando. He clearly makes a lot of money for Disney. I don't think there's any avoiding that. Like he's currently arguably the most popular entity of Star Wars. I think like he's like the Darth Vader right now. Darth Vader's always been the mascot, but like right now he's like that popular. He still is. So.
Yeah.
Very interesting things that could happen with Grogu.
Are there any stories that y'all still want to hear, like that you haven't seen depicted in like live action?
want to see about Luke, bro, trying to build up the Jedi Order again. I want to see how that. I would like a little series on that to see how that failed. See how that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be really interesting.
I'd like to see Luke continue on for sure. I want to see Luke really become the most powerful Jedi as he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if they are gonna commit to actually sticking with the sequel trilogy. I know that a lot of fans were not too pleased about that, and I think those sequel shows are trying to like retcon them a little bit, if in some ways. But if they are gonna commit to it, I would like to see a young Kylo Ren. Before, or not just a young Kylo Ren. Like, how did he get into the Knights of Ren? How did he get his red lightsaber? How did he get? Kylo Ren was one of the few characters I actually liked. But man, I really want to see more of Obi-Wan. Apparently, there's going to be a rematch between him and Darth Vader, and I'm a sucker for that. I need to see what happened in that 23-year gap. Like, what happened between those two fellas? Did they ever see each other again? Apparently, they did. And man, with all respect to Episode 4, but that fight is outdated. I need to see like an updated fight between Obi-Wan and Vader. Like, I want to see a full class, powerful Darth Vader, no holding back. All that
And
anger.
they're younger too.
That's something I want to see.
Yeah.
CGI and everything, power scale max, bro. I want to see it all. That's what I want to see. I'm with you. I honestly want to see, like, aside from obviously developing stories and like that, I want to see just how powerful these Jedi's can like be, because obviously we hear about them like anecdotally on the shows and the movies, but I want to see it like physically, like how powerful are these people, that's something that I want to see. I want to see just how powerful the most powerful Jedi ever is, so
Do you think they could? Do you think that they could do a show with them, even though like the CGI looked great in this season compared to the finale of The Mandalorian? But do you think that they could do an entire show with CGI?
CGI.
Ooh.
I forgot about that.
Like, if he's going to be the main character.
Everything's run by CGI these days, but I mean, if we want to go back in time, remember Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith? That movie's practically almost entirely CGI. Now, if you look back at it, it's pretty outdated for a lot of people, but I think it's possible. I mean, as Alex said, I mean, there's so much said about like what they can do, and you read about it in the comics, or you look in Clone Wars, you're like, wow. But then like in live action, due to technology restraints, you got to keep it a little bit more real. I mean, if you look at Episode 6, there's so many reasons why they couldn't truly show in the original trilogy like Darth Vader really added, and we get like a glimpse of it in Rogue One, like only like a good minute of Darth Vader really going at it. I think with, as you said, like look at the CGI of these modern day Star Wars shows. I think we can, maybe if not the whole show, but like I think there could be an episode heavy on like, we're really seeing like a good lightsaber combat. We're really seeing like let's say if anybody's angry with the Force, like no, like we're gonna see a ship get torn apart, even, or not even just like feats of strength, like just a really well done paced action scene, or with tension, more on the spectacle of the Force side. I think Obi-Wan can lead us more into the Force side with the lightsaber side. We've been a lot into bounty hunting, into blasters, into armor, with Mando and Boba Fett. I think it's time for us to return a little bit back to lightsabers and Force content with Obi-Wan.
I want to see that, bro.
I'm going to throw out a hot one right quick to y'all. Listen. A show where the main character is Count Dooku.
That would be cool.
I think that we should have seen more of him, man. Like, I feel like, bro, he's one of the coolest Siths of all time, in my opinion. Like, I mean, I feel like General Grievous was cool, but at the same time, like, I just feel like his character was kind of played out a little bit. I mean, I feel like seeing him be like the evil villain or whatever to like a show as an antagonist would be pretty cool. But I just feel like Count Dooku, it would be legendary, man.
He used to be a Jedi.
Yeah.
It'd be very interesting.
So seeing that transition would be insane, bro. It's just my opinion. But so is there anything else you guys want to talk about in terms of like the show?
Man.
Other than, how great it is.
Like, just let's go back to that point real quick. Sean, like, do you now I have a follow-up question to that. Do you guys think
Mm-hmm.
if Disney really wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
they could just make a show like that about, because there's so many gaps. They can make shows like that about everybody if you really think about it.
Yeah,
About all the
I think they
characters we're
could.
really interested in, you know? I would love to see
Yeah.
that about Count Dooku. I think there needs to be more Jedi stuff, man. Like I said, I'm a sucker for Jedis, bro. So I think there should be more Jedi stuff. There should be more power scaling. We need power scaling. Okay, forget all that other stuff. Okay, story, emotions, all that stuff. Throw it out the window, bro. Just let me see how strong this guy is. Okay,
Just a
um,
good fight. Just a good fight.
exactly. Yo, just give me like 30 minutes of a good fight. But nah,
Something like Revenge of the Sith, Anakin and
but
Obi-Wan all over again.
But in all
Yeah.
seriousness, though, I do feel like that's something they should do. Is like really dive deep into the characters that everyone like that we all know and love. Like Count Dooku would be that's a great idea, Sean.
Mhm.
Count Dooku would be amazing because he's like a pretty complex character. Being that he was a Jedi, and then he ended up going to the dark side, and just I think filling in more of the gaps with Anakin, his time as Darth Vader too. I think that'd be pretty cool. I think there's some little things that we could get some more insight on. Luke, of course. Obi-Wan, we're already getting that. Qui-Gon Jinn, I think that'd be really cool. Qui-Gon Jinn or Mace
Yeah.
Windu. Mace
Yeah.
Windu would be pretty cool. I don't know how they're
Those
gonna
would be
deal.
sick.
Yeah. So I mean, let's see. Even Darth Maul, bro. Hey, let's get some Darth
I was
Maul.
just gonna say Darth Maul.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I believe Ahsoka's getting a show.
She
They
is.
confirmed that, yeah. So I mean, yeah, they can definitely expand on characters, and if they don't want to just expand on individual characters, they could just put like Star Wars Chronicles, and so like under Chronicles is like, okay, here's Boba Fett's show,
Or
here's
like a
Ahsoka's
one
show,
shot kind of.
yeah, and like here's Boba Fett, here's Ahsoka's, here's Darth Maul's, here's whatever. I think out of all of them, me personally, I'm more interested in Darth Maul. I want to see why Darth Maul became such a hateful person. Like he's so insanely hateful, crazy. Like I mean, his eyes are literally bleeding all the time. Like how angry he is. I'm like I mean I've read of what happened, but I would like to see it. Like how did a boy get that hateful? That'd be very interesting. But closing thoughts, I guess. My closing thoughts. I think Boba Fett is a fantastic addition to Star Wars lore. But with all fairness, it does have some missteps on not truly committing to the Boba Fett name. And it does leave me wanting more of Boba Fett rather than feeling satisfied that this character has been finally given a show. So maybe it's that expectations were really, really high for a character who's very popular. He's arguably in the top 10 most popular Star Wars characters of all time. I just hope they don't do the same if they're gonna commit to the Ahsoka show, and if obviously they are gonna do Obi-Wan. I hope they don't do the same where it's like we're gonna have this character, but it's gonna be primarily Star Wars lore buildup. I want it to be primarily the character. If you're gonna call it after the character, it's not called Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and you focus on one character. Star Wars: The Clone Wars focuses on the lore of Star Wars. It focuses on everything. The Book of Boba Fett tried to focus on a lot of things, and it didn't really focus 100% on Boba Fett at the end of the day. And I hope they don't do that if they're gonna name shows after characters. That's what I'm hoping. So that's my final take on it.
Yeah, my closing thoughts, I pretty much agree with what Adrian said. The reason as to why they did that, we're probably not going to get an answer, but I do definitely want to see more of Boba Fett, of course. But I think it's a step in the right direction for sure. I mean, it was a great show, and I think the ending kind of opened Pandora's box, and now we're all kind of wondering the same thing, that okay, is how much is this universe going to expand now? And that's what I feel like these series are like meant to do. So it's really good, and I'm super happy that obviously that we were able to get a show about Boba Fett, and that we're gonna get a show about my man Obi-Wan. I'm gonna be excited for that. And yeah, man, all in all, good show, good deal. I'm happy.
How would y'all feel about like a show that they created just to fill like a story, and then they converted it into like a movie, in terms of like instead of getting like a second season, we got like a movie instead, like
Quality,
like even before. Exactly, that is true. Though that is very true. When you think of like what was the seventh one's name? The seventh chapter.
The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if they would have done a show with whoever was going to be like a protagonist, and then they went into like, okay, this is the 7th chapter. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think that they could do that? Yet? Like, do you think they can do that yet? I know we should probably end this show, but this is getting everything going now.
No, yeah, we'll wrap it up with that idea. I think, like I said, quality over quantity. If making a show and prolonging more hours for it to fully develop characters, by all means do that. You know, if the sequel trilogy was actually better off as an entire series that actually really built up episode by episode, that I would have preferred that. But at the same time, you don't want to delay and just drag something that can be done in 2 hours, especially when it's supposed to be this grandiose tale. And at the end of the day, on a business standpoint, I think movies make more money than a show can for the most part. And sometimes you just want to deliver one banger story after another, and you got to do that in like a 2.5 hour mark. So, I mean, it's up in the air. I mean, maybe in about a few years, if these shows continue success, maybe we'll see a massive Star Wars movie with Mando and Boba Fett, and everyone's gonna have all the context. They don't need to see like randomly like Boba Fett came out of nowhere, like, oh, where the heck? It's like, no, we know Boba Fett, what he's been up to. We know what Mando's been up to. We know what X, Y, and Z's been up to, and maybe we'll get a movie with them. It's like, you know, this is the movie that bridges the gap between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. It's like, it's going to be like 2.5 hours long, but it's going to be with characters you really care about. And even Luke Skywalker, like, oh, now we have context. He's not just going to pop out of nowhere now, you know?
I feel like this is a momentous occasion when you think about it. When you look at like Marvel and what they're doing when they're having their shows and their movies and they're connected. And it's almost like you need to see the shows to be able to understand what's happening in the movies. And I feel like, you know, Star Wars is doing kind of the same thing, and not entirely, because they haven't really bridged the gap in terms of like, okay, something is directly happening after a show, starting a movie, or, you know, stuff like that. But I just feel like it's pretty cool that they're starting to do this. I feel like it's insane. It opens up so much to be able to be done, because it takes so much for a movie to, you know, be greenlit and the shooting and everything. And I feel like with shows, they can do more. And especially with the quality being how it is, like these shows are not awful quality. I feel like when you look at the quality that they have in the movies and in these TV shows, we may not have like the explosions and all of that, but I just feel like they're still really well done. But yeah, that's my take on it. But another thing that I was going to say is to close this, the power scaling. Do you think that they should, you know, take more time to look into this instead of, you know, like just throwing a fight scene together? Because I feel like it damages it long term when the power scaling isn't up to date, you know? So how do you think they even go about doing that? Like, do you think that they just have to, because I don't know if they can go to Lucas about this, you know? Because I feel like Disney Star Wars is different from Lucas Star Wars, if that makes sense. I just feel like it's kind of changed a little bit in terms of power scaling. But yeah.
Man, I mean, see, that's a great point, you know, but also there's like a lot of, I hate to call it this, but there's a lot of literature on the, you know, Star Wars and the feats that these characters can achieve. So I don't think it'd really be anything too crazy. I mean, if they have someone, I don't know if this is just me making stuff up or not, but if they have someone like moving a whole moon with like the Force and stuff, you know, that's like, I don't know, you know, that may throw some people off. But I mean, that's a really, because they can't go to Lucas about that. You know, at least I don't think so. But maybe they can hire someone, you know, that was closely working with him. You know, I don't know, man. That's all corporate stuff at that point, right? It's like, you know, like how close do we want to get to making a Lucasfilm Star Wars without having to have his involvement, I guess, you know. But I think it's possible for sure. You know, they just got to get it right, man. They just got to get it right.
My take on it, honestly, the whole power scaling, that's another like 3 hour topic, you know, like every character has to be analyzed and compared to each other. It's like having a Dragon Ball Z conversation of like,
Oh
oh,
my
who's
god.
stronger than this
Yeah.
character, whatnot. But like,
Yeah.
honestly, when it comes to Star Wars, you're right. Canon is all over the place, but we also have to consider death of the author. You know, like Lucas can only say so much, but in the end of the day, there's too many people involved with Star Wars to just count on Lucas.
That's true.
There's too many fans who have analyzed Star Wars harder than Lucas ever anticipated. You know, and even Lucas cannot stay consistent with like answering everyone's questions.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult scenario because at one moment it's like, as you said, Alex, like someone can like move the moon with the force, but that next moment they're having a lightsaber fight and they're clashing and they can just trip. You
And
know, it's
die.
like
And that's-
it's the inconsistency. If I could really say it, is I don't think they should focus on power scaling. I don't think there should be a definitive answer of like this character is far more powerful than that character. Because at the end of the day, a good fight is a good fight. You know, if you just outsmart your opponent, you win. And I think that
Yeah.
what's better is instead of me personally, if we're gonna get like, let's say I mentioned before, a rematch of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, I don't want it to be like, oh, who's stronger? I want to be like, how is it gonna, who's gonna win, how they're gonna win, and more importantly, do I feel the emotional tension between those characters who used to be best friends and like brotherly? You know, that's what I care about in a fight. You know, even if let's say Darth Vader is leagues far more powerful than Obi-Wan, does he have a bit of conflict in him that prevents him from doing that final brutal swing? You know, is Obi-Wan holding back, or does he feel so much guilt that he can't even do it again? You know,
Yeah.
that's what I want to see in a fight, rather than like, oh yeah, one force push and it's like an entire nuclear explosion happening.
Yeah.
So I would say focus on a good quality fight rather than like numbers and stats.
All right. Well, I guess you got it. You got the answer you guys wanted. All right, guys. So that was episode 3 of the House of Reels podcast. You can catch us on Spotify at House of Reels podcast. You can catch us on YouTube at House of Reels podcast. You can catch us on Twitter at House of Reels. I think just House of Reels. But yeah, so that was episode 3. And remember, always take the high ground. See you.
Donate to the
guys.
Patreon. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.